April 2024, many articles were published about a Romanian ethological research which stated that according to its results, 20% of the meat consumed by wolves was dog meat. Is this really true? Are the wolves who live in Romania eat dogs in mass? Or it is just a fake news? We asked Agnes Bazogani, who lived there and had a farm close to the biggest wolf density and protected their animals with shepherd dogs. Agnes, is it true that wolves usually eat dogs in that region, or in general?
Wolves usually eat what they find. If they find dogs, then they eat dogs. If they do not find dogs, then they do not eat dogs. I looked for the details of these research, and I found it. It was published in ResearchGate by 4 Romanian ethologists. As it turned out, they examined a wolf pack in Romania County, Romania, which consisted of 23 wolves. They made difference between what the wolves eat in summertime and in winter times, as there are big differences between their habits in the two periods. In this research, nobody talked or wrote about 20%. What they stated was that in wintertime, approximately 3.9% of all foods the wolves consume are dog meat, while this number is 12.1% in summertime. Of course, it is a consequence of the phenomenon that in the summer, the importance of grazing the animals are much larger, while in winters they are close to villages. As the wolves are very cautious animals, they try to avoid getting close to inhabited places where people live. What was a real surprise for the researchers was that the 70% of all meat the wolves eat were wild boars, which basically help a lot to clear out the nowadays quite infected boar population. According to the numbers, an average wolf eats 8 pounds of meat daily in average. If we want to sum up their findings, is that the majority of the meat the wolves in Romania eat is wild boar. In the summers they eat other farm animals as well, like goats and sheep, and 12% dogs, which in winter times go down to approximately 4%.
When you lived in this region and had a ranch there, did you have any experience with wolves? How did your dogs handle the situation, and have you ever lost a dog to wolves?
As both species are caninoids, in an interesting way, they can communicate with each other even from a given distance. As dogs can perceive and estimate the other dog that was passing by, even by their scent, it works quite similarly between dogs and wolves. What wolves usually check is whether humans are around the dogs, as they fear humans most. Wolves avoid risk in general, and if they feel that the farm animals are surrounded and protected by a strong and experienced shepherd dog pack, they usually avoid a situation like this. In general, they attack that the dogs are not working together, or weak, or there are only a few of them, and there are no humans in sight or close. As I always had a very well-selected and quite strong Central Asian dog pack, who work very well, we had very few losses. What happened mainly with unexperienced dogs, who left the packs and tried to achieve something alone. For a dog, to be alone against a wolf pack is a certain, short death. The last case I remember happened when the wolves attacked another flock that was quite close to us. One of my young dogs did not remain with the others, but tried to go out and run to the place of the conflict. This was the last time when we saw him, except when we found his skull weeks later. All other parts of him were eaten by the attacking and winning wolves. He was alone. He left the packs. He was not a good shepherd dog. For a shepherd dog, being in a wolf zone, surrounded by wild animals, is like when a soldier is in the front line. One bad or thoughtless move, and you are defeated. We talk with other farmers in this region about these types of dogs who are too brave. We usually call them, in quotes, wolf food.
How many dogs did you have, and what was the ideal number to ward off wolf attacks?
In general, we had 6 adult dogs and the youngsters, and it worked very well. You cannot protect your flock well if you have only 1 or 2 dogs, as they cannot behave and function like an effective pack where every dog have its own character and its own task. Some are usually leading the others notice things earlier. They work as an effective team where different add up and create a better quality. And The other very important thing is that you, their owner, should be on their side, and they should feel your support. So, at night, if you hear that your dogs are under attack, then let's move and help them with your presence, which is a big support for them and a disadvantage for the wolves, as they fear from you. Give a sound. Bring some light with you just to show that you are present, and it can turn the tide. To understand how important it is to have a good dog pack, I tell you an example. When we sold our ranch, a young guy bought it who had no former experiences with shepherd dogs. When he moved there, he bought some dogs, but they were not accustomed to each other and they could not work as a pack. In a very short time, he lost half of his dogs and had very serious losses, as the wolves killed many animals from his flock, sheep, cows, and even some horses. It happened at the very same place here. We had not had any losses for years because we had a very strong pack. When we started ranching on that place, first we bought 4 very experienced shepherd dogs, and all the others got to us as young dogs and learned from the others. They grew into this pack hierarchy, and that is why they could work united. With the shepherd dog pack, we usually have some smaller dogs, like herding dogs together, who are a kind of eyes for the pack. They usually notice everything sooner and signal to the bigger ones, for the tiger tanks, that somebody is close or getting closer. Hungarian shepherd dogs, like Pumi and Moody, are extremely good in it, as they live together with big shepherd dogs for centuries. In these days, there are more and more golden jackals appear in this region, and this combo is very effective against them. The small ones notices everything, even a jackal, which is very difficult to be noticed and drag the big ones into defensive mode. It works well at us. Finally, I would like to tell you that I respect wolves very much. For long years, I should have feared for them, but I had to discover that basically they are at home in the wild. They are very cautious animals and not idiots, and they will never risk their lives unnecessarily, and they will not bother you if you make the necessary precautions. The truth is that they are caninoids as well, but such a brave and physically fit ones, what we will never be able to achieve with our dogs, ever. We could train our dogs as much as we can, but they will never reach or even get close to the physical potential of wolves.